little bit about entrepreneurship because this tool can also be applied in teams. For example, entrepreneurs they have small teams of 5%, 7%, 10, 15%. So in that, there's a lot of chaos going on because people don't understand each other. So once you employ the colored brain, you can actually find out, where the gaps are. And for example, this person will be better in research. This person will be better in business development. This person is an HR person. This person can assume this leadership role. So you can redesign the organization, and just by redesigning, the same team that is performing poorly will start performing at a higher level.
Yes.
So would you like to say something about that?
Yes, of course. As we understand that color brain classifies brain into how many types?
Four types.
Four types.
Yeah.
And color brain is called color brain because the classifications is according to four colors: red brain, blue brain, pink brain, and green brain.
Yeah, purple brain.
Purple brain.
Red, blue, purple, and
Yeah.
green.
And in each of these types classify the personality type, the way people learn, the way people react, or the way people behave. The most important thing is how people learn. Once I heard a speech of famous brain scientist Lara Boyd, and she said that every human has a unique learning ability. You cannot force anybody to learn something he doesn't have the aptitude about or he has any interest in it. So in that unique learning ability, you have to find out, especially about young people. You have to understand that what is his unique learning ability, and this tool helps you to get more understanding about your younger ones, and especially in the entrepreneur environment or in a startup environment, you have to understand the capabilities and abilities and the learning abilities of your co-founders and your managers who are going to lead the employees and who are going to handle them the way a leader should be doing that. And it's really very important and very effective tool.
Yeah, because remember, entrepreneurial success is always dependent upon the leadership because good leaders are good entrepreneurs and good entrepreneurs are also good leaders. But remember that a single person, what he can do, he can just contribute a small amount to the organization. But if you could really organize everybody, just like a train or just like something which is a machine which is working, so if you could organize people like that and tell them, that please, this is your capability, or I find you suitable for this. Would you like to handle this? And it's according to your color brain that you're assigning those tasks. So there will be a jump in the performance, and that jump in the performance could help you, reach the next level in your entrepreneurial adventure.
Yes, of course. And the most important thing in an organization or in a homely environment or in an educational environment is the important environment. If you are working in an environment that is not making you feel even comfortable, you cannot give your best to that environment. And for that reason, we've also contributed this time in the Liable conference about the work environment and company culture. And in that research paper, we have tried to make people understand that how important is your company culture and your work environment. And for that reason, we have to emphasize, especially to the leadership, to work on these wonderful tools and as well as try to get their company culture audited. Because every organization, no matter how big or small it is, they should at least get their culture audited and try to find out what's making their organization work a bit underperforming or a bit lesser in output is coming out. The reasons to find out would be very clear after you get a company culture audit, and we are happy to do that. And we are because that is the need analysis in which we would suggest you the tools you need to fix your company culture and your work environment.
Yeah, so a little bit more about company culture. Company culture, first you need to correct to do a company culture audit. So to find out where the weaknesses are do you have a blame culture because this part of the organization is blaming that part, HR is blaming, management, and management is blaming HR, marketing is blaming, sales. So that blame, actually that puts down the overall the pressure of the company. So we try and remove that blame. Blame, you can't really blame people, all right? And the second thing is, for example, the second thing is to remember is the reactive mode people go into, they start blaming and so that's the worst sort of culture you could have because every part of the organization is blaming the other. So a better way would be, some people if they say blaming is a bad thing and which undermines performance. So let's get to the next level. The next level is probably, you can do your work and I do my work. So this team is working, on their project and this team is working on their project. So there is absolutely no synchronization, all right. But it's better than the blame culture instead of because these small segments in the organization have realized that it's better not to blame each other, but to do their own thing. But there's no synergy, there's no coming together, there's no empowerment of people. An empowered culture in which employees know what they want to do, how they can contribute, and the mission statement is clear, the vision statement is clear, and they know how they can contribute. That's the sort of company culture which gives you performance of at least 40-50% on what actually employees are performing. And a blame culture is probably the worst culture you can have because this segment is blaming this segment and this segment is blaming that segment. And after some time, everybody is blaming everybody.
Yes.
Okay. So that's something to avoid. And the cultural audit, we could do the cultural audit and we could let you know where the problems are and how to fix them, once you realize. So once you go to a doctor, he has to diagnose you, and then he has to prescribe you the medicine. The same way, your cultural fixes or problems in your leadership and entrepreneurship and in your team, we have to diagnose those problems, and then we could prescribe for you a solution that okay, so this is recommended. We could have colored brain, you could have emotional drives, you could have a coaching session, you could have a mentoring session, you could give you an idea session. So that thing follows after you've done an audit and after you establish that these are the weaknesses and we want to get from this place to this place and this gap, we could help you address those.
Yes, of course. And this is sort of, in other words, your need analysis. The needs, sometimes we cannot identify the exact need for improvement. And this company culture audit would help you understand your needs as well. And the most interesting part in this company culture is that it's free of cost. We just visit your company and we audit your company culture and we let you know the gaps between the performance and underperformances and your skills, your overdues, and things where you're spending more, where should you be cutting the cost, and the details would follow.
Yeah, so it's a great tool, and also another thing you could do is probably the perception gaps. Let's say if I'm in an organization and I think that I'm a really good boss, I'm a really good leader, but what does other people think about me?
Yeah.
So the perception about me and the other people perception about me. So we have to see where the gaps are. For example, if I think that I am a good leader, but I might not be because what are the other people are doing me. So the gaps I have to see the gaps where the gaps are, and overall basically it's like a 360-degree view because nobody really takes control of the situation because you have certain objectives which you define for the organization, and those objectives are important. In fact, single people and single entities are not important because the ego doesn't come in. Somebody who's a janitor, somebody who's a tea lady, they are great influences. If you use them well.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing, really helps out in the company culture, and you have to find out the key influencers, and then you have to empower them so that they affect the whole organization. So leadership is not really a rank. You don't have to be a CEO or a director or the manager or something like that. It's a responsibility. It's your actions, how you display those actions. So we'll talk more about this. So I think, that's all from my side.